At 70, the masks fall, not just from others, but from the story you told yourself about them. In youth, we are too entangled in the noise of desire and obligation to perceive clearly. We believe in affection because we need to. We mistake dependence for love, repetition for commitment, and use for connection. But time is a slow and merciless sculptor. It strips away illusions with each passing year. And what remains? A bitter residue of truth, that many who walked beside you were not companions of the soul, but opportunists of the hour. You see now that the love you gave so freely was accepted not for what it was, but for what it bought: security, stability, inheritance, comfort. And when the well dries, so do their smiles. What was once endearing becomes inconvenient. Your story's too long, your presence too quiet, and you realize the very people who once leaned on you now lean away. This revelation does not come as a dramatic betrayal, but as a subtle vanishing. One day you simply notice you have been left behind. You were a father, a husband, a provider. But ask yourself, who asked you to be, and why? The will to live, which underlies all phenomena, knows nothing of love. It knows only of its own continuation. Every so-called family bond, every sweet vow, every child's embrace, these are the theater masks of the will, using you for its drama of propagation. What you took for meaning was machinery. The child needs the parent not for your soul, but for survival. The wife clings not for your essence, but for shelter. Society praised your duty because it needed your output. Your value was measured by what you could give, and now, when your giving is no longer needed, you are told to rest. But it is not rest. It is quiet dismissal. The will has used your body, your labor, your years, and now discards you like a husk. Do not weep. You are not alone in this. All men who live long enough see it. The actor who forgets the play ends in silence will mistake it for betrayal. But it is not betrayal. It is biology. It is the will. It is truth. Human affection, when inspected under the cold light of reason, reveals itself as transaction. You gave comfort and they returned compliance. You offered sacrifice and they offered smiles. But remove the sacrifice, become ill, become poor, become useless, and see what remains. Affection is often proportional to utility. And love, that most sacred of illusions, is in truth the golden bait by which nature hooks the old fish to spawn new ones. Even within the family, the bonds are rarely metaphysical. A child may love his father, but only so long as the father remains a provider, a guide, a fortress. The moment the father becomes a burden, love retreats. So too with wives, whose devotion so often diminishes not with the heart, but with the wallet. In the end, the man who gave everything finds he has no one left to take his hand without expectation. This is not cruelty. It is nature, and to see it clearly is not bitterness. It is freedom. Do not confuse this vision with resentment. Resentment still clings to the world. It still hopes. It still begs. What I offer is release. The clarity of old age is not a weapon, it is a mirror. And in this mirror we see that our regrets are not failures of morality, but failures of metaphysical insight. You were not wrong to give, but you were blind to why you were asked to. You were not foolish to believe, but you mistook necessity for virtue. The mother who smiled needed you. The child who kissed your cheek depended on you. The friends who laughed at your jokes sought your company while it served their needs. And when those needs vanished, so did their presence. This is not evil. It is existence. What is evil is to pretend otherwise, to go on clinging, to keep feeding a lie that has ceased to nourish. Wisdom begins when we stop asking others to prove they loved us and start asking ourselves why we needed them to. What then remains when all roles are stripped away? The old man, bare of function, is the final figure of truth. No longer a father, no longer a husband, no longer an instrument of any plan but death's. He walks slowly, he speaks seldom. But in his silence is the most profound statement. I have seen the world and I have withdrawn from it. He is not broken. He is returned to the solitude from which he came. The will, having squeezed his usefulness dry, now passes him over. And this, ironically, is liberation. For the first time he is not needed, and therefore for the first time he may see. In this uselessness there is dignity. In this invisibility there is truth. In this end there is rest. After the illusion collapses, after the roles dissolve, after the silence settles, one question remains. What is left of me? If all my relationships were conditional, if all my sacrifices were transactions, if all my loves were needs, then who was I? The answer is not comforting. You were the vessel through which the will carried out its blind commands. You were the mask it wore to propagate itself. But if you can see this without flinching, then you are no longer merely that vessel. To understand the will is to rise above it. What remains is not the man society applauded, not the husband children once called noble, but the pure witness. The one who sees without hunger, without need, without illusion. This is not a personality, it is not a self, it is awareness itself. And in that awareness, untouched by flattery or rejection, there is peace. Cold, but real. Let the world forget you, it always would have. Let the children drift. Let the wife busy herself elsewhere. Let your name grow quiet. It is not a tragedy. It is a return to essence. Every man who reaches 70 with his eyes open knows the final dignity is not in being remembered, but in having finally seen. Seen the truth beneath the theater. Seen the will beneath the mask. And having seen it, refusing to play. The world does not mourn such a man. It cannot. It is too busy using the next. But this man, this silent seer, carries a victory no one will applaud. He knows. And knowledge, once purified of hope, is freedom. If you have reached this point in life, do not look for repair. Look for release. Let go of the ledger. Stop weighing who gave back what. They never could. They never would. The will used them just as it used you. But you, unlike them, have seen it. You have a chance to exit the stage with your eyes open. Speak less. Expect nothing. Sit with the truth and let it cleanse you. That is the final act. That is wisdom. And if these words struck you as something you already knew but never dared say aloud, then I invite you to do one thing. Write in the comments what you now see clearly. Say nothing to be admired, only to be free.